heavens above, and I believe in truth. I believe in the love we have, because I believe in you. So tell me, do you feel the way that I feel? And tell me, would you give what I'm willing to give? And I believe in honesty, and I believe it's true, and I believe if you set it free, it will come back to you. And I believe that things were meant to really be, and I believe in the love we have, because I believe in you.
This is UCY.TV. Thank you, Jules, for hooking us up there last second. I was having major panic attacks. Oh, no, not again. But anyway, this is Ian Jacqueline from iCureCancer.com. My lovely co-host, J. Cynthia Brooks, is here, I believe. Are you there, darling?
Yes, I am. I got to tell you, pretty excited. We've got like one of the most incredible guests. For years, I was doing another radio show called Spiritually Speaking Live. And that show, sometimes we did 4 shows a week, and, on different stations. And every day was a different throgs of spiritualists, scientists, healers, on and on and on. And I kind of put together my top 5 favorites. And our guest today, Tana Marie, is one of them. She's really incredible. And I don't know, she said something really important. We were speaking earlier on the phone that I want to say right now is, I know a lot of us, me included, have been going through like quite a difficult time. And, the last couple of months also, that little cold that's going around that I had this morning, but around 10 o'clock, like the energy that has been hanging out since early November, like broke. And I was just like, oh my gosh, I can breathe again. I just felt so much better. I told Tana Marie about it and she was like, I feel the exact same way. So, it has been rough, especially for the healers, and I might comment on that as well. But I'm feeling like $1 million finally, first time in months. How are you feeling, Ian?
I'm glad you asked. Amazing. Unbelievably amazing. I don't know if because I jumped on the bandwagon a little bit earlier than most in this whole mystical stuff, if it's true that we are now out of the dark ages into the age of Aquarius, because I knew that was coming. Well, thanks to you 17 years ago and Reverend Lynn explaining me all this stuff. But more so as it was sort of happening, I knew it was happening, back to 21st December 2012. I've just been manifesting, whether I believed it or not, and it's just been working like so amazingly. I can't even tell you that, like, the simplest little things. Just my couch, nice, but it was a little saggy, and I had this little thought. I would love a perfect little piece of wood that would sit perfectly in there, just real nice. Never thought of it again. About 2 days later, I'm walking out of the store, and there's that piece of wood.
Right.
It fit perfect. When I say fit perfectly into the where I needed to go, it's not even funny. I mean, and just tiny little things like that. Right, all the way up until meeting with producers for dinner, who I want to make my movie, and I don't even realize that they want to make my movie because it just happens so quickly.
Right.
It's just amazing. So I'm giving you, if nothing else in this blab that I'm saying right now, is I'm giving you validation for all the things you taught me over the years and kept on me about it. Because I know in the beginning it was hard for me to understand how this energy works, this Einstein kind of energy. And with that, I'm going to shut up so we can bring our guest in and she can explain some of this energy, how it works to us maybe.
Well, yeah, no, I'd like to just piggyback on that because it is very interesting. And there's this interesting language, and I'm sure Tana Marie will teach us about this too, but it's very recent language. And, I got to say also, Nothing's Working. Just go to YouTube and type in Abraham Hicks 2004 14 because the last 2-3 seminars in this new year, have been just killer. And, what you're experiencing, Ian, is like, being in the zone. Abraham calls it being in the vortex, or others are calling it the fourth dimension of like instant manifestation.
Yeah.
Or very little lag time now. And I've been experiencing that on the smallest levels, you know what I'm saying? Smallest levels going, where's that piece of paper? I haven't been able to find that piece of paper. It's important. I haven't found it for 6 months. And I walk into another room and it's laying on the ground.
Yeah.
Major things as well. So, but what was interesting to me and an interesting topic is that now Abraham, since 1986, has always been saying step 1, step 2, step 3. Step 1, ask. Contrast provides that. We can't help but asking. Step 2, it's given by whatever is out there, that intelligence of pure positive energy and love. Step 3 was getting into allowing it to float into your experience. But what's interesting is out of nowhere in the past 6 months or so, they're talking about this step 4, which is very quick manifestation and kind of living in a different dimension and being able to see things that you can't see. And I was just listening to another speaker, and he's a physicist. He was saying the exact same thing. He was calling it a fourth dimension existence. It's all coming together. It's very, very interesting. Also, the other topic, I've got so many topics, but anyway, the other thing too is I'm just wondering, I was asking Tana Marie, because in a few days we're going into the Chinese New Year, which is the horse. And I was sort of thinking this morning before I even spoke to Tana Marie, gosh, I'm feeling better. And I'm wondering if it's the Chinese New Year, kicking in. Mm-hmm. So I've already set up like a 5-hour conversation with Tana Marie, and we'll just go with the flow here. Like I said, Tana Marie is just stellar. She's just killer. And like, I feel like I've met more than half of the psychics on the planet, and she's just one of the best. But she's an incredible woman. She's technically she's an intuitive counselor, a lot of romance and dating advice, a lot of relationship advice. But then it can be I've done many sessions with her, and I'll talk later about one session in particular. She does a lot of past life regression, and I've had tons of that done too. But they're like, okay, well, and say I'm having a specific problem, a different past life regressionist is going to say, oh, well, that's because you were, died at 27 because you had 17 children. It's kind of like, how do I apply that? How does that help? Tana Marie is 10 notches above that. She'll go through this with you, whether it's personal, yourself, or the relationship. Find the bugaboo that went on in that previous life. And then she, as she says, she gives you, quote, homework. She does. She gave me this meditation. And I got to tell you, it's new territory to me. It was just like 17 years ago with Reverend Lynn. She gave me a 5-minute meditation. I was like, I don't believe this, but whatever. It's not going to hurt me. And in 5 minutes, my migraine was gone. Same deal with Tana Marie. She gave me this meditation, and I felt such a weight lifted off my chest. She's been voted Woman of the Year several times. She's an award-winning author. One of her books I need to read is called The Guy Code, Understanding Your Man. One of the books is Mating Game, Stop Playing and Start Loving, Care and Feeling of the Heart. She speaks publicly all over the place. I just can't say enough about her. I'm going to stop talking. Here she is. This is our Tana Marie. Hi, Tana Marie.
Well, good afternoon, everybody. Hi. I'm just sitting here taking copious notes, because, like you said, Cynthia, we could go on for about 2 days without taking a breath with all of the information and stuff we want to, give to our listeners. There's so much there.
Exactly. What I kind of like to start with, I've never got a chance to ask you this. One of the things I love about you is one of your guide, and I'm going to get it's Simon Thomas is your guide, or Thomas Simon?
Oh, no. Simon Peter. He was one of the disciples.
Right.
And
Simon Peter.
Yeah.
And I got to say, this energy that she communicates with, he's never wrong. So hopefully he's here, and I love him. But I'm curious, how first rendezvous with him.
If I may jump in,
yeah.
if I may jump in, because a lot of my friends won't even know what's going on right now. What is who are we talking about? What's the spirit? Remember, this like my friends are like fighter kind of guys, athletes, jocks that never dove into this. So what is the spiritual guide? or whatever you're talking about.
Oh, of course, Ian. Well, you know, and you mentioned Esther Hicks earlier. I love Abraham's work, and my Simon is very, very similar to what Abraham does. Basically, we all have angelic guidance. It can be galactic, it can be angelic. In other words, we're not walking this planet in these little bags of skin alone. So we come in, and there's 3 different types of guides. We have our life guides. Those are the ones that come in, that are here the moment we take our first breath till the moment we take our last breath. And they're here through everything. We have from those are the ones that come in when you've got a particular lesson that you're going through. And they're the ones that's like, okay, you can do it, or, you know, it's like they bring in the right people, the right circumstances, and I call them lesson guides. And the third type are our protectors. Now, you know, if you're going to step in front of a train, there's not too much they can do because we still have free will, you know, but our protectors are those when you say, oh my gosh, I shouldn't have been able to drive home that drunk and get home, you know, or, oh my goodness, that car missed me by inches and it shouldn't have. Those are the protectors. They're here to help us.
Yeah, I had an experience like that. When I was in my teens, I think I was 17 or 18, I was drinking alcohol and then I was doing cocaine and to keep me awake. And I thought, oh, I'm fine to drive. And I started falling asleep in the fast lane on the freeway. And somebody very softly just said, and I was inebriated, so I should not have been able to hear anything. And somebody said to me, they called me Cindy. They said, Cindy, open your eyes. And so I don't know how I heard that, because then I opened my eyes, I was heading right for the center divider. Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. And, you know, and I talk about protectors guardedly, if you will, because again, it doesn't allow you to be a total bonehead, you know, go out and do crazy stuff. You know, if you're going to jump off a bridge, you're probably going to get hurt because, you know, they're not going to be there with the net. However, there are times when we're not supposed to be hurt. You know, there's times when we're not supposed, because there's lessons in all of these things. So yeah, babe, our protectors are amazing, and those are the wee small voices that sometimes, you know, they tap you on the shoulder, and then if they don't get your attention, then they tap you a little harder, and then if they don't get your attention, they bring out the sledgehammer, you know, and say, boom.
Right.
You know, you need to do A, B, or C. And so those
I'm curious about, oh, no, I'm sorry. I'm curious about the protectors' guides. Are those archangel in nature?
They can be. They don't have to be. They can be warriors that you've had other lifetimes with. They could be just very strong angelic guides. But you can call upon the archangels always. You know, one of my again, as you mentioned, I love giving homework. I love giving my clients and our listeners tools that they can use right away. One of the things I always recommend, like when you're on an airplane, on any kind of mass transportation, and even when you're in your own car, call on the archangels and have them position themselves at the 4 corners around the vehicle.
Ooh, I like that.
Oh yeah, just, you know, you know, Michael, please come, bring the gang. I would just say bring the gang, you know, surround us. and once you get used to that, you don't have to do it every time. You just know that you're protected. You know, and another affirmation that I love that I give, especially to my newbies, is I'm always guided, guarded, and protected. You know, you can say that 100 times a day if you want. You can say it once, because once it's spoken, it is. And you don't have to keep repeating. But as, you know, we're learning and as we're growing, you know, we, like when you learn your alphabet and your, you know, times tables, you have to say it over and over till, not that they get it, until you get it. And then once you have it, it's there. So does that make sense, Ian? You know, it's like our angelic, our angels, you know, and they come in depending on how the individual processes. Some people will feel something, you know, they'll get something in their guts, like, oops, shouldn't do that, or maybe you know, and because they're going to work with you at your level and at your frequency.
Interesting.
And, yeah, you know, I actually started my work in I'm dating myself here, 1979. I was a teenager and, came from a very long lineage of amazing intuitives and healers and that. And I've been doing my work for 35 years. And, it was interesting when I first started. I told the guides 3 things. I said, number 1, if I'm going to do this work, because I'm a devout coward, I don't want to I don't do anything like that. I said, when you give me my information to help someone else, just give it to me like I know it already. And it is. And so I'm known as a clairsentient, meaning clear knowing.
That's what I am. That's what I am. Oh. Cynthia just taught me all this. I think that's what I mean, that's really weird because I've never really understood it, and it was very hard.
Are, Ian.
I'm pretty sure I am because I've never. Thank you, Cynthia. I'm starting to validate myself in that because I no longer really worry about it whether it's hocus pocus or sounds silly. I just go with my gut, and my gut's always been right. And I hate to say it to my mom because she used to call me Mr. Know-It-All, but she was right.
Your lead is the knowing. And when people ask me what it's like, okay, what's 2 and 2? I don't have to see it written down. I just know the answer is 4.
Right.
And that's the clairsentient way of them communicating. For me, that was the most comfortable because I would talk to someone, and let's say I was describing a new car they were going to be getting. I am clairvoyant, which is clear seeing, and clairaudient, which is clear hearing. Right. That's secondary, and those are my secondary leads. But let's say I'm going to describe a new car that you're going to be getting. I know what the car looks like without having to see a picture of it. I can describe it in detail, and so that's what clairsentience is. It's clear knowing. You just have it in your gut. You just know it. And then, secondarily, I'll see a picture or I'll hear something. But again, I get information so quickly, I don't need the follow-ups. It's just like, yeah, I know it. I know this is right. And there's something that I love giving people, again, as far as tools. I call them a fleece, like Jace, the golden fleece. Let's say you want to make a decision. I'm going to keep it real simple. Okay, should I buy these new running shoes? Okay. If the answer is yes, let me see a pink Cadillac. If the answer is no, let me see a black Porsche with a daisy painted on it. Something crazy. It can be something you see out in your world. It can be a song you haven't heard in forever. But don't set yourself up. If your neighbor has a black Porsche with a daisy painted on it, you don't want to say.
Right.
But even when people try that, if that's not the answer, that guy will be gone for a week and you'll never see the car,
Right.
So I love that. It's such a fun way to communicate with other energies.
It really is. It's wonderful. If you're just beginning, it's a wonderful way to test it out because I know there's a lot of people that need the show me, and that's great. And then the other thing you want to do is you want to give it a time frame. Okay, I would love to see my fleece by midnight tonight. Now you can see it in your physical reality. It can be on television, in a movie. You can open a magazine. It doesn't matter. And then, so you ask for the time, what it is, and then let it go. Now that's a specific fleece for a specific question. Now you can do also a standing fleece, meaning every time, like for instance, one of my longtime dear friends and clients was single for a very long time, and she just didn't think she's ever going to meet anybody. And I worked with her for a long time. Well, anyway, so my client, a single woman, loved the idea of a pink Cadillac. So what we set up as a standing fleece for her was that every time she saw a pink Cadillac, and then it morphed into a pink car, what that meant was that he was closer. He was a step closer, or that she was closer to meeting him. Well, honest to Pete, this is a true story. She was in, I believe it was Albuquerque. I think that's where it is. And she found a diner called the Pink Cadillac Diner. Mm. And she said, oh my God, I've got to go in. Well, she walks in, and sitting there was her future husband.
Whoa.
She said she looked up, and it was like their eyes met. It was like, she could hear the music, swelling in the background and the whole bit. And she has a picture of the diner, and, obviously they started dating, they got married, and, for their honeymoon, they went back to the Pink Cadillac Diner. So a standing fleece can be tell me when I'm on the right track. It's an attaboy, like a pat on the back if I'm doing something great. Or, you know, for someone who is just feeling their way through life, you know, show me something, whatever you set up, if I'm off track, you know. And so the fleeces can be very, very wonderful that way. And it's a way to really communicate with your guides, get to their frequency, you know, and that sort of thing. Because going back just real quick about guides, when I first started my work in '79, I've had Simon all my life. You know, he's my main guide, and I did a big channeling one night, and there were several other beings there, and two of them said, you know, we're going to be working with you, but you're nowhere near ready. You know, it's like you have a lot to learn. Yeah, you have a lot to learn, my dear. And one is Cronus, and Cronus came in for me about 12 years ago, and I've been working with him since then. And Magi came in about 8 years ago. So, you know, as we evolve, that goes into the lesson guides and lesson/life guides. They'll come in as we evolve. It's like going through school. You know, you have your kindergarten teacher when you're in kindergarten, but, you know, you need a PhD when you're in college.
Right. It's just so
yeah. oh yeah, it's remarkable. I mean, the universe is so supportive if you'll let it.
Yeah.
And, you know, because we're on a free will planet, and they cannot change the direction, you know, like they can't hand us a teleportation machine, but they can give us pieces of what it's going to look like and let us figure it out, like giving kids Legos and say, okay, what can you build with this? And it's interesting too, when you guys were talking earlier about the instant manifestation. For years and years, we always teased about, okay, someday we're going to get to instantaneous manifestation. And, you know, before, back, you know, years ago, and for a lot of us that have been on the path for whatever length of time, it doesn't matter, you know, they give you like a buffer. So let's say you want to manifest, let's stay with the Porsche, okay? Let's say you want to manifest a new Porsche. And you say, okay, I want it, and you visualize it, and you do all the stuff, and you do metaphysics, you know, 101 and ABC, and I'm going to manifest that, and nothing happens. And you go, okay, this stuff doesn't work, or whatever. Well, at that point in time, you weren't ready for the power of it, or the, you know, you might do something silly, like you know what I mean? There are reasons that a lot of things don't come in when we think they should come in. And a lot of times we change our mind as we grow. And so before, you know, with our manifestation, we would ask for something, and it might not be what was perfect for us. And it doesn't mean that you don't get something that isn't necessarily perfect. It's just there are times when it isn't really what you need or what you want, or there's something much better out there. So before, we would ask, and then we had like a lag time between the asking and the manifesting. Right. And that was what typical manifesting seemed to be. You'd do your vision boards, you'd say your affirmations, you know, you do all of this stuff, and sometimes it worked and sometimes it didn't. Well, what's happened now is, again, the universe is saying, okay, the kids are, you know, let's get them out of kindergarten, let's get them up into the higher grades now, and so we're going to allow faster manifestation. And because we are definitely elevating from the third dimension actually to the fourth and fifth dimension, yes. And that's where a lot of us feel like we're straddling the line, you know. Half of us is in 3D, half of us is actually in 5D, where we're going, oh my gosh, I'm not in my body. Where did the day go? You know, there's literally an acceleration of time that the quantum physicists have been talking about too. I'll mention that in just a second. But with the instant manifestation, because of everything speeding up, before you'd say, I want this, and you have this long lag time, whether it's 6 days, 6 hours, or 6, you know, months.
Yeah.
and then boom, something would happen. Now it's like, boom, I want it, there it is.
Yeah.
And, and when you were talking about the piece of wood, that's perfect.
One of her websites is very easy, www.tanamarie, and I'll spell that for you, tanamarie.com. www. Capital TANA, capital MARIE.com. She's got a slew of information up there. You can contact her. You can book appointments with her. You can book speaking engagements. Her books are there. There's so much, you know what I mean, that you can read about her. And I'll certainly put the information on all of my sites. On Facebook, mostly, it changes. My big page, which isn't as big as it should be, I think that's part of the problem. There's some confusion. It's either J. Cynthia Brooks, House of Healing, or sometimes if you put House of Healing, J. Cynthia Brooks, I'll put all her information there as well. She's just so therapeutic and such a great counselor and great speaker. All of the information, how to get a hold of her, whether you want to call her, email, anything, book an appointment, anything, and I'll put that on my Facebook and Ian's as well. www.tanamarie, spelled TANAMARIE.com.
What a great way to come close to the wrapping up stage. We got about a minute left. Anything you got to say there, Cynthia? Oh, guess not. Guess we're half a minute off. All right, thanks very much. And anybody want to show?
I believe in angels, and I believe in you. I believe in the simple things and everything you do. I believe in the heavens above, and I believe in truth. I believe in the love we have, because I believe in you.